Along your journey towards better foot health, it's absolutely critical that you build a consistent movement habit that supports natural foot function. And we've identified 5 fundamentals of that natural function that are very important to focus on and explore regularly. And those are circulation, sensation, mobilization, coordination, and integration. And to simplify this, we've picked 5 of our favorite exercises that promote those fundamentals and combined all of that into one routine, which is perfect to be used as a daily movement snack for your foot health, or as preparation for other foot training, or really just any other exercise that is done on your feet. So this is taken straight from our foot restoration program, which is a 12-week course that guides you along every step of the journey, including full tutorials and follow-along videos for each individual exercise in this routine. So I highly recommend checking that out if you do find that you're struggling with any aspect of this routine, or if you just want to build upon it with more in-depth and structured training. Either way, this routine should be a non-negotiable in your day, so let's get into it. Okay, for toe crunches, we're sitting up on the ground in a long sit position. You could equally do this in a chair with your legs outstretched. And the movement is a little flexion of the toes and then back in the opposite direction. That's where it's best to start, nice and gentle, and just get used to the coordination of that, where you're just crunching your toes a little bit and then coming back up like that. And so you could try and go faster and faster as your coordination builds. And this will obviously get more blood flow and circulation into the area. And that's a great one to do for multiple reps or sets of time. And the other way you can do this focuses a bit more on mobility and strength, and that is as slow and as far as you can crunch, basically. So nice and slow and really crunching down, and this will get a little bit crampy, and that can be very uncomfortable at first through the arch, but then coming back and opening in the other direction will help release that cramp, and then going again. And one thing to note here is that we're trying to keep our ankles still, and it's really just our toes moving in each direction. And with the sort of fast circulation version, obviously you'll be feeling some muscle activation, and after a certain amount of reps or time, then you'll feel that blood flow, that warmth, that stimulation in the area. And then with the slow and strong and mobility focused version, then obviously I mentioned you'll be feeling a little bit of crampiness, and yeah, that stronger muscle activation in the arch, and then ideally a nice relaxation and relief as you come and extend in the other direction. So it's good to be able to do both the slow and the fast and build comfort and confidence with both of those and explore them both regularly. So for foot ankle sways, we're setting up with about a shoulder width stance to begin with, and you can put our hands on our hips, and we're just rotating our trunk and hips one direction and allowing our foot and ankle to move a little bit. So you'll notice that as I turn to my left, the left foot lifts up a little bit and the right foot lifts up on the outside. So inside, outside. As I rotate to the other direction, then you see the opposite. So starting off nice and slow, and you're just tuning into the sensations that you're getting both from the ground through the soles of your feet as you apply pressure in these different areas, and also within your feet and ankles, and feeling those movements happen. Now, if you want to reduce your range of motion, you could stand wider, and that would reduce the motion, especially through the ankles. Whereas if you stand narrower, as you'll see, it promotes more range of motion through the ankles in each direction. You're trying to move within your tolerable range of motion, You don't want it to be painful in any way, of course, and you don't want to feel like you're vulnerable through the ankle. A lot of people might feel quite a significant stretch through their ankle as they roll out like that. And this is just something that you build tolerance to gradually over time. And of course, if you're finding that the narrow stance is too much range of motion, then you just widen it again. And you'll find your Goldilocks zone that's not too easy and not too hard. And you can just gradually narrow that over time as your tolerance and your confidence increases with that. For ankle circles, we're setting up on the ground in long sit. You could also do this in a chair with your legs outstretched. And we're just drawing a circle with our toes, which is taking our ankles through their full active range of motion. So starting off nice and slow, and we're really exploring our current mobility here. And as you go slow, you may start to feel some cramps in your feet, maybe in your legs. Very normal at first. Fortunately, as you move through that entire circle, usually that crampiness will subside in one area. It may appear in another area, but if you need to, you can always reduce your range of motion just to be smaller at first. However, you want to build up to that ability to slowly move through that full active range of motion that you have available. And over time, that active range of motion should also expand. Now, you want to also go in both directions, like so. And it's also good to be able to explore this more quickly, which will be a little bit more of a circulation stimulus as opposed to an actual mobility or strength stimulus. But this is a really great way to bring blood flow into the area and just get all of these muscles through the foot, but especially in the leg, all these muscles that originate in the leg and insert into the foot, getting all those nice and active blood flow through them. And after some time, a certain amount of reps, or a certain duration of time, you'll likely start to feel a bit of a burn, especially through these leg muscles, and probably even more especially through these muscles that you may not be used to using as frequently through the front and the side of the shin. So tune into all of those sensations and feel them, and focus on improving your mobility and your coordination over time just by frequently practicing these ankle circles. Okay, foot ankle rocks. We're setting up in standing, and basically we're tracing this pattern of the foot from the heel down the outside or lateral edge of the foot there, all the way into the big toe, and then tracing it back down on the ground. So I'll just show you that here. We can do both feet at once, starting on the heels, lifting up your toes as high as you can, and then you're slowly lowering down along that outside edge, coming onto the inside and the big toes, and then coming up into a little mini calf raise. Doesn't have to be a full calf raise like that, just coming up onto your forefoot a little bit, and then you're reversing that pattern like so. So that's the pattern you're after. If you're struggling with the balance or the coordination aspect of that, you can actually just face the wall, and that will take away almost all of the balance component, and then you can just really slowly do the exact same thing. And don't worry if you're not getting the coordination of that exact pattern completely right at first. The main thing is you're tuning into the feelings that you are getting from your feet from the ground and doing your best to mimic that pattern. So If you started on the wall like this with 2 hands, you could gradually build up to doing that with 1 hand on the wall, like so, the same thing. Then you could play with taking your hand off the wall, even if you have to tap here and there, that's fine. Eventually, obviously, trying to do it without any assistance. And the other thing you can do is split your stance so that most of your load is going through the front foot, and then do that same thing. And what this is doing is mimicking the coordination of walking. And as we walk, we want to be planting our foot in that pattern, especially when we're on flat level ground, which we mostly are. So you could do one side, and then obviously you'd change to the other side forward and do the same thing where you're up in this position. You could use the wall if need be as you're getting used to this split stance. The back heel is lifted. I'll just show you from the side here. The back heel is lifted. You're loading the front foot. And then this is great too because you're teaching this front foot to take on most of your body weight. Again, very important for building up a good, efficient walking pattern. For heel bounces, we're setting up in standing next to a wall, and that's the easiest place to start, is facing the wall, and even a little bit of a lean to take away the balance requirements here. And then what you're aiming for is just these very small, you could even start with the tiniest calf raise you could imagine, where your heels are just coming off the ground like so. And where the bounce comes in is you're actually trying to just create this effect that the heel is bouncing off the ground, where you're not slamming into the ground at all. It's just ever so lightly touching the ground as you go up and down. So if it needs to be slow at first, that's okay. But the idea with this is we're trying to tap into our foot and ankle springs. So you want to increase the speed over time and try to increase the range of motion as well. And of course, the other way you can progress is by reducing the level of support. So you could stand next to the wall, have 1 hand on the wall, and do the same thing. You could then just be next to the wall, hovering your hand and tapping as needed, or just not use the wall at all. And then finally, you could split your stance and have most of your body weight on front foot. If you feel like that's something that you're ready for, this will just obviously increase the load on that front foot. So a great way to progress, but not necessarily something that you have to progress towards or have to progress to right now. Something to build towards over time though. And obviously you do the other side. You could also do the split stance with your weight more evenly distributed, and that would be having both heels bouncing or just lightly tapping on the ground. But to get that extra load, you just shift your weight forward. The back heel no longer touches the ground, but the front heel does. And again, aiming for that quick movement and a gradually bigger and bigger range of motion. Thanks for watching. If you're getting value out of these videos, please do like and subscribe. That helps support our channel, and we put out videos just like this as well as podcast episodes every week.